the Tom Green show on MTV. I've said this so many times. Like I literally sat there and recorded every episode of the Tom Green show and was so careful when the commercial break started. I would hit pause on my VCR to in real time edit out the commercial breaks and then hit record again when the commercial break was over. I had the whole library of the Tom Green show and I just loved it so much, man. I remember when we filmed Jackass for the first time, like I shared a room with our line producer who told me that I was like, what other shows have you done? He said, I worked on the Tom Green show. And all of a sudden I just had this reverence for this producer.
Was that Trip or?
It was Trip.
Trip did the Tom Green show?
Trip did the Tom Green show. And I just thought that was so cool, man. And if you think so, there was the godfather of the
podcasting. And
then the podcasting came after, but.
Yeah, what do you call that?
With that, I mean, hidden camera. You can't say the hidden camera because like candid camera had been around for so long, but like that man on the street gag, that just weird, like there's definitely, and I've always really looked up to people who can make footage that's compelling and that's awesome without like doing anything dangerous or destructive or or super gross and puke everywhere. Like
we got pretty gross, but yeah.
Painting your parents' house plaid or painting their car.
The Slutmobile.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, right? Like, because we were both skateboarders and I loved skateboarding as a kid. And so, for me, like when I was a kid, I would watch like Powell Peralta videos, like I was watching like it was Future Primitive was the first one that I saw that was like where I remember seeing video that didn't look like it was made by, NBC or something, Right. It was like Stacy Peralta's Future Primitive and they were going, they were cruising around New York City and jumping off like the back of, vans, and Lance Mountain would like wipe out and like flip around on the ground and shit. And everyone was like on the street, real people reacting. And I was looking at that going like, man, like that's like raw, real, like energy that I'd never seen on television before, except for maybe a little bit of David Letterman was doing stuff like where he'd go out in the street, but everything else was so controlled. So kind of rehearsed and everything. So, but, we kind of grew up at that same time where it's like, all of a sudden we could get a video camera, right? Like we couldn't get a video camera before. And all of a sudden you could go out and make sort of guerrilla gonzo kind of amateur TV, which, maybe it wasn't as perfectly shot or perfectly produced, but the fact that it was so raw and nobody ever like, when people looked at you, when you went up to someone on the street, they didn't think that you were from the TV station because you weren't. And so they'd kind of react real. And it was just the right time, like we just sort of, we were both there at that time when all of a sudden, like everything changed. We started filming stuff, no YouTube, nobody watching it, ever seen anything like that before. And sometimes I kind of like feel like, man, like, I don't think young people today, I don't think they can kind of quite grasp how crazy it was when our shit came on TV back in the early 2000s or 90s, because like nobody had seen it before. Now, like you can put stuff like that out now and you can do stuff like that now, but they're comparing it to all the stuff they see. We're overwhelmed by all this weird video. It doesn't have that impact that it had back then,
I'm so there's so much here and I'm so fascinated by it because I think what made it so special was that at that time when you and I started filming our stuff, the video camera was still not yet really a household item. It was like pretty, not most households had a video camera. And it was skateboarders who were the first to really, we had such a leg up in video production, skateboarders, because our whole culture of skateboarding was about trying to get sponsored. So you had to videotape your skateboarding in order to try to get sponsors. And there was never another activity that lent itself to making videos. Like, say, for example, if you were a tennis player, then you want to get sponsored, then you win tournaments. You know, there
Hey,
was
check out my tennis video.
right.
Yeah.
There was
My
no
tennis
other thing
part.
like there was no other thing like it was skateboarders that really like first came to the video camera. We got so far ahead of everybody else with the video camera and at a time when it wasn't a household item. And you're absolutely right. Plus when our stuff came out on MTV, still the average person didn't have a video camera, let alone in their pocket. And the media wasn't so fragmented to where there was like I mean sure there was cable TV and there was network TV, but when our stuff came out, there was no such thing as playing videos on the internet. I mean, it was like Webovision in Tom Green's living room was like really the first streaming video, I think. Right?
Yeah, I've got so much footage of us. I've got it all on drives and on tapes and stuff. Like, I mean, don't worry, I'll let you see it before.
I don't mind one bit, Tom. I don't mind one bit, and it was public. When
It got
was
pretty
recorded.
crazy though, man. Like I remember it was like, that was kind of exciting because, when I was doing the web show here in this room, right? Like that's where we were sitting right there.
You're sitting where the bleachers were.
Yeah, I'm right where the bleachers were. Had bleachers in my living room.
For what?
So amazing.
Yeah,
for the in-studio audience.
We made bleachers, and it was just like Steve-O would bring his friends, I'd have my friends, and people would just sort of sit here and watch, and we had a little studio audience,
That's great.
And dude, there was like a lot of like big time people in there. Like we had really great hours and hours in a row with Carson Daly. I remember that fondly.
Yeah,
Dr. Drews.
yeah.
I mean, there was some. You had a lot of really famous people in there.
Yeah, it was weird because like, it felt a little bit like, when I started my show, on public access, we were kind of doing something that was kind of unique, right? Because the video camera was sort of shooting with, I didn't actually have a video camera. I had to go volunteer at the public access station. So they'd lend me their video camera,
Nice.
So I didn't have any money. I had no money, I was like so broke. I worked at Dairy Queen. I'd make $100 a week. I'd spend it all on a new skateboard deck or, a drum machine or save up for a thing. I'd never had any money for a video camera. Video cameras were like $2,000 or something like that, So, yeah, but like then when we did the Webovision, that was kind of later, it's weird like how that seems like a long time ago now because it doesn't like to me that always feels like, it was like that was after my show on MTV. But it's now a long time ago, which is scary because that means like we're really fucking old now. Is what that means?
Yeah. Guess what? I have the number 30 ranked hot sauce on all of Amazon. It's called Steve-O's Hot Sauce for Your Butthole. And if you go on Amazon and type in Steve-O's Hot Sauce for Your Butthole and order yourself a bottle, you'd be really helping me because right now we're ranked number 30 on all of Amazon, and if you buy a bottle, we might go up the ladder, and that would mean a lot. So please get on Amazon and buy Steve-O's Hot Sauce for Your Butthole. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.